Hello and welcome to this rather concerning video. Today I am making this video as a reaction or response to the recent news of the French national team banning their football players from taking part in Ramadan fasting. This is something which, of course, as a Christian, I'm not directly impacted by, but I do think it's something that we have to keep our eyes on as Christians, as religious people in this world, when we see such a prominent country like France start imposing their religious beliefs and or their irreligious beliefs on other people who are trying to have honest, well-held religious beliefs and religious practices. Now, you might be saying, well, okay, as a Christian, what has this got to do with me? I am a Christian. I don't believe in the Muslims' teaching. I believe Islam is wrong. Why does that have anything to do with me? Well, the answer is very simple, is if they could do this to the Muslims, they could do it to us as well. And this is not the first time they've targeted Muslims in this fashion, targeted Muslim religious beliefs. They've targeted the wearing of the hijab. They've targeted these religious Muslim practices in France. And you could say, if such a prominent country like France can get away with it, and they are getting away with it, well, then who exactly can hide from it? What if they do it in Germany next? What do they do in the rest of the EU? What do they do it further on in other countries around the world, targeting the Muslims? And if you take that further, what if they're not targeting Muslims in the future? What if they're targeting Christians as well? Maybe they'll target Lenten fasting, right? Maybe they'll target having female priests. They'll say, oh, the church is being bigoted by only allowing male priests. We must need female priests in the Mass as well, in the Catholic Church. Well, what's going to happen there? If they're going to use the argument against Muslims, well, then surely Christians or other religions would be at risk as well. Now, I don't want to make this video about arguing whether it's right or not to wear the hijab, whether it's right or not to have Ramadan fasting. That's completely out of the question. But what is of concern is the ability for people to have sincerely held religious beliefs, religious practices, and implement them in their lives. And that is the most important thing that we all have to stand towards. And that's something which I think the French government, by trying to eradicate this religious belief, eradicate this sincerely held belief by the Muslim footballers in this situation, and of course a Muslim woman with the situation with the hijabs, there's a clear problem which rises there of well, who is free to do what? Are we free to practice our religious beliefs if they're sincerely held in a free country or an allegedly free country like France? And also, well, how are we meant to go ahead with it? How are we going to implement different restrictions in the future? Can we then just start saying, well, okay, we're targeting Muslims only, or are we targeting all religions? And if we're targeting all religions, we're being bigoted against religious people. And if we're only targeting the Muslims, well, that's being completely unfair and unjust, and in very clear words, racist or bigoted towards the Muslims in this case. Now, you could say, I could hear someone arguing, well, okay, they're just doing it for performance issues. Well, that's not really the case. People on Ramadan fasting, footballers have been doing it for a very long time and performing at a high level. Benzema, Kante, Rudiger, other people like that. There's also other good scientific evidence that undergoing some sense of fasting is very good for you. So that's not a very good excuse to just say, oh, they're doing it to protect players' performances. If it's true the fact that their player performances are dropping, then they'll get dropped regardless, because football is, of course, a meritocracy. But if they can play exactly the same way while they're on Ramadan fasting, then if they're not, and they're still better than everyone else while they're on Ramadan fasting, why are you banning them? And the argument goes back, if you're not looking at the sports of the hijabs, why are you banning these people if they want to freely wear and express their religion in that way? What's so wrong with it? There is a very important question there, because although, yes, it might be bad to enforce people that they must wear a hijab, it's also wrong to say, well, you cannot wear a hijab. I hope you've enjoyed this short review of the recent issue of France banning the Muslim players from taking part in Ramadan, and of course the growing movement of the French government against a Muslim expression of religion. I think it's something of severe concern that we all have to bear in mind.